Hello, everyone. Welcome to our DocuSign Developer webinar, Unifying Connect Configurations. My name is Melissa Marsh, Senior Developer Programs Manager for DocuSign, and I'll be managing the logistics and moderating the webinar today. Next slide, please. Thank you. I'm here with Alan Rosa, Senior Product Manager, who will be presenting and demoing today, along with Julie Gordon, Senior Programmer Writer, and Tiago Nogueira, Developer Support Engineer 2, and Sasha Vodnik, Principal Technical Course Developer for DocuSign. They will answer questions via the Q&A box throughout the session and after the demo when we open up the floor for questions. Next slide. One more. Perfect, thank you. Before we get started, we have a few quick housekeeping items to go over. You are placed in listen-only mode and this session is being recorded. You'll receive an email in about a week with a link to the webinar recording along with other resources. Now, please be sure to use the Q&A button to ask questions at any time at the end of your screen. Feel free to ask the questions as they occur to you and we'll answer via the Q&A box to let you know that we'll answer them live after the demo. To copy and save your questions and answers, simply right-click on them and copy and save to your desktop or document. Next slide. Now, is this webinar right for you? Well, this is a webinar for developers, and so it will be a little more technical. If you're not a developer, you're more than welcome to stay, or you can check out DocuSign 101, which is a little less technical, and try that instead. Next slide. All right, this is just our safe harbor notice. All of the values, email addresses, keys, secrets, tokens, and other personal information you might see here today are for demo purposes only and will be deleted or revoked after the webinar. All right, that's it for housekeeping. Alan, go ahead and take it away.
Thanks, Melissa. So we'll be walking through a full presentation of, how we're thinking about webhooks differently at DocuSign. We'll just cover what Connect is, we'll start at a baseline, how it all works, what products we offer today, what are some new enhancements that we're implementing within our Connect product, and then what are the challenges? What's the new unification Connect configuration that we're implementing? And I'll walk through a full demo of all that. So let's just start with what Connect is today. Connect is a push service. It sends real-time data, envelope updates, recipient updates, other updates within DocuSign to external applications. So instead of getting like a notification on your phone, you're getting a notification to a customer's app, a data center, or a storage system. And customers will do automation off that. If they want to know like when an envelope's completed, if they want to extract documents, metadata, or kick off another process within their DocuSign flow, that's what they'll use a webhook system for. It's just an automated way for them to get notified of what's occurring in their account. So this is one diagram we have just to show the different webhook products we have at DocuSign. On the left, for this case, a customer wants to know if an envelope has been opened. They want to make sure their documents are signed within a reasonable amount of time, and they just want to have some tracking to make sure they got the notification, or if it hit an inbox, maybe they're out of office, or maybe they just need to get a resend, get notified again that they need to sign a document. So we have our more first-party applications. These are low-code, no developer solutions, agreement actions, Google Drive, Salesforce. These are not developer-heavy, very click, pull in, plug in, click, and you're good to go. The main thing that we'll be focusing on is the developer. This is the heavy side. You need to have a development team. You set up a server. It's more integration based with your systems. So it's something that we'll be focusing on today. What are the different developer products that we offer right now? And we'll also be introducing a fourth one today. So on our left is our account level configuration. This is the one that customers have used for the last 15 to 20 years. When a user sends an envelope out of your account and you subscribe to different statuses or events to be notified, that's what this configuration will fire those notifications for over to your listener. A couple years ago, we introduced a recipient connect. This is when your users are being sent agreements from another DocuSign account, not within there. So it's about inbound agreements being sent to them. And then we also have our more developer API envelope level configuration. This doesn't have a user experience. It's actually an input into the post envelope call. And it will only fire events within that API call. So it gives you some different type of filtering. So you're not getting events for all users in all the account. It may just be within that specific post envelope call that you've implemented within your app. And then we'll be introducing a fourth one here, our organization level connect that I'll be walking through today. So I just have a diagram just to kind of level set, what connect is, what can you do with it, and how it works today. So how this traditionally works, and we'll start with the middle box, the connect event system. This is where an admin within your account will go and set up a configuration. They'll specify the URL that they want DocuSign to pass this notification to, and they'll subscribe to different events that we have and different metadata within that. If you don't want the documents or if you don't want the tabs or recipients, you can configure however long you want that payload to be and what you need us to pass over. And then on the far right, on your organization, you set up that listener. That's where you input it into DocuSign. That's where we'll send the information, and then all the processing happens on your end, whether you're doing quality control, archiving, or kicking off the next step in a workflow. And then it's all triggered at the beginning when your users are sending agreements, and that's when this flow will kick off end to end. So I want to walk through what is the payload experience that we have right now. We used to have three different experiences. We had an XML one we still support, but we're starting to push customers and recommend they implement our new flow. It's called Connect 2.0. And what we did is the old payload that we had only sent an envelope summary, just an API call of a status of what went within the envelope. With Connect 2.0, we added the event on top of the envelope summary. This allowed us to create all sorts of new events outside of the envelope, even more events within the envelopes, and it really just broke us out into a true webhook system. And what that's allowed us to do over the last couple years is create all sorts of new events around, reassigns, corrections, purges, template, our old DocuSign Click product. We have new events coming out every year. We have new events coming out for data verification, and some other different events that I'll walk through shortly here. So just to kind of give you a little roadmap of what we have coming out this year, this is in addition to the new org level connect configuration I'm going to walk through. Just want to plug these in so you know it's coming out here. We have a new extension app event. The first plugin is a data verification. These are a different product we have that customers have to verify their tab information, social security numbers, different information specific to them. And when you implement this extension app product, you can actually get notifications whether they passed, if they failed, what was within that payload, about why they failed. And this is something that we have just made available this month from our extension app team. Coming in March, this has been a widely asked feature over the last few years. We're actually going to add the template name and template ID into the envelope and recipient payload. This is something we did not offer before. Customers had a workaround. They could use an envelope custom field instead, but we're actually going to be adding the template name and ID within it, and we think that will provide you a lot of value. And then just throughout the year, we're going to be introducing new events as teams build into our system. We have a queue coming up of notary events for our notary product. We'll be working on reminders, sending events when those occur, our new Navigator product, and then we have some additional envelope and recipient events that we've been requested for it to build. All right, we'll dive in to the Unifying Connect piece here. I'm just going to walk you through, where this product came from, what are the challenges, and what's the feedback we've been getting from you, and we'll just keep going from there. So the main three issues that customers have been giving us feedback in is when you really start to expand your integration with us, when you're getting multiple accounts, multiple Connect configurations. Some customers have 20, 30, even hundreds of accounts, and they start to create different integrations for those. So that can be very difficult to manage if you're one IT team or one admin team or one business admin, POC managing all these accounts. It's hard to identify where you've made changes, where they've been added. It's difficult to pinpoint errors. If your integration's down, how do you know where to go? You can't log into each account and figure out where those errors are occurring. So there's just a real lack of visibility and a place for you to go to get quick answers. Obviously, this costs you a lot of money in business, especially if you have an in-person use case. If the Connect events are failing, whether it's our end, your end, something happened in the transaction, your users are sitting there waiting to sign, very painful and costs a lot of money. So that's a lot of the challenges we've been seeing and hearing, getting feedback about and where this product has started to come from. And the best way I like to show this in a visualization process is we have an enterprise customer or just any customer that's come in, they set up DocuSign for their insurance account. And why customers build or set up multiple accounts is, there's different admin teams, or they want to keep the documents separated. They don't want certain teams to have access to like HR or insurance. So that's where you see this start to occur. But within each account, we allow up to about 20 Connect configurations. Those are those configurations where you'd input the listener URL. There are many times where customers will set up different integrations and have, 20 different Connect configs within one account. Well, as we start to go here, the HR team hears about the insurance team and all the success they're having with DocuSign. So they hop on board and then they launch their own DocuSign account under the organization. And then they also can have their own 20 Connect configurations. And as you see, as the business starts to grow with DocuSign, uh, if we have 3 accounts here, adding the mortgage team in, we could have 60 Connect configurations just within 3 accounts. And we know there's customers with, hundreds of accounts and sometimes thousands of Connect configurations. So it just becomes impossible to monitor, manage, and maintain. So it's just a visualization of what I just described before. And so that's where we're introducing organization level Connect. We're going to unlock a comprehensive experience to unify all those account level configurations you may have. We're going to bring it up to one view, one unified view, and display all the configurations, the statuses, the failures, the logs, what events were subscribed to within here. You'll have a whole view where you can manage, monitor, and maintain those. And if, let's say, you launch org level Connect, and you're wondering why you have 80 Connect configurations, you will have the opportunity to launch one organization level config as well. That'll be one config that would fire events for all the accounts linked to the org. So you could consolidate those 80 Connect configurations into one if you wanted to. You certainly don't have to, though. And that's the views that we'll provide here. So before I walk into the demo and walk you through the functionality we have a bit of a phased rollout going out right now. This organization level Connect, it's a true enterprise product that we have. So it's only going to be available on the Enterprise Pro plans or the org management plans or SKUs. That's what you'll need to have access to this product. And how we're phasing it right now, phase 1 is out in demo and prod. It's the ability to manage, monitor, and maintain the account level configurations and look at logs for those. Phase 2, we're actively rolling it out now, and we'll finish that by the end of February. That will give you the organization level configurations, republishing envelopes up at the org level, and some additional filtering and search functionality within this phase. So that's where the bulk of the net new configuration functionality will come from by the end of February. So up at the org level, we had to build all new APIs separate from the account level. It's essentially a new platform for us. So you will not be using the same account level API calls that you leverage. The bodies of these calls will be very identical to the account level ones, but we'll have different post calls and a different authentication method as you'll need to be an org admin. And we'll be getting documentation and developer blogs worked on over the next quarter or two. And if you need any help or have any questions about, how do I implement an org level API, please reach out to us. We can certainly walk you through it. But it will be a totally different set of endpoints, pretty much mimicking the account level up at the organization level. So I just wanted to show you what one of these calls may look like if you're trying to make an org level config. Okay, I want to just dive straight into the demo here. I'm just going to walk you through the different phases. This will be a two-part demo. I'm going to show you phase one in production now, the managing, monitoring, and maintaining the account level configs. And then I'll hop into another environment that I have to show you the phase two that's actively rolling out. That's not available in demo and prod just yet, but we'll finish up, like I said, by the end of February. So let's start on phase one. We're going to walk through how do I manage, monitor, and maintain my existing account level configurations. So if you're on an Enterprise Pro plan or you have that org management SKU, you would just log in, to your DocuSign account. You have to have that organization set up as well. So when you log into your account, it brought me straight into the org level, um, where you'll see these different accounts linked to my organization. So when you have the functionality, you'll see a new Integrations Connect webhooks. It looks very similar to the sidebar we have at the account level. It just now exists at the org level. And when you click into this, you'll see we're just in that monitor mode. There's some different pages here you'll see on the phase two. But we're just monitoring, managing, maintaining the account level configurations. So I'll just start here. You'll see we have a site filter now. I have configurations in all sets of these accounts linked to this org. So I'm able to look at configurations for all the accounts that I have. And what this is pulling is the account level configurations that I created there by that type. So I have a unified view where I can manage, monitor, and maintain everything. Like this is the account level configuration that we have here. And so if we edit one, you'll see it actually took me out of the org. I went into the account where that configuration lives, and this is where I would edit it. So when you're making changes, the changes are occurring at the account level, not within the org, when you're making changes to those account level configurations. And then when you're done, when you save, we toss you right back to the org level. So now you'll get a full view. And now you'll also be able to understand how many configurations you actually have across our different DocuSign sites that we have here. The dashboard will pull events for all the configurations that exist. So if I have a configuration on each of our different sites and environments we have, the default view here will pull all the successes and failures across all those accounts linked to the org. So you get a true view of the health of your whole organization. And you can also drill down into different configuration types, IDs, event type. We have a new account level filter I'll show you in phase two. But this is how you get a true view of what's going on across your org. Instead of having to log in to each account and figure out where these errors are occurring, I hop into org level connect, I see there's an error, and then I either reach out to my developer, IT admin, or triage it internally and figure out where this issue may be occurring. So this is what phase one looks like. It's just all about unifying the existing products, configurations up in a view that you can work through here. I'm going to step over into the phase two side, looking at the new functionality, the new configurations, and we'll dive into that real quick here. So I'm hopping out of phase one. I'm now in phase two. Like I said, this will be rolling out. It's not available yet in demo prod, but it should be start rolling out in demo and prod here late this week, early next week, and finish up the end of the month. So what does phase two look like? Phase two is all the organization functionality. We have HMAC, we have the OAuth, all those settings that you enjoy or leverage at the account level will exist for organization level configs as well. And we try to call out when you're at the org level, when you're adding these settings, they actually only apply to org level configs. The connect keys, the OAuth, you're not going to be able to change these at the org level for an account, just the org level configs. If you want to go change the account level stuff, you head over to your accounts and edit those there. So just want to call that out. These only pertain to the org level configs. and you'll have a new button here that appears. We have our custom webhooks. These are those sender level that I spoke on before, and then our recipient connect custom recipient inbound. We only offer the two custom developer configurations at the org level. But when you hop in here, you'll see it has a very similar feel to the account level, name, URL. If you are very familiar with our account level, there's also a logs and a require acknowledgement, and then there's the delivery modes with those different payload experiences. Those do not exist at the org level. And what I mean by that is auto retries, require acknowledge, logs. Those are all turned on by default. And the delivery mode is only our 2.0 model that I showed you before with this event. We don't offer XML or the JSON aggregate experience. We only offer one webhub experience up here, and auto retries and logs are enabled by default. This will make it much easier to understand and just set up. You're not trying to have to figure out what are these different experiences, what's require acknowledgement. You're putting in a name, you're putting in a URL, and you're diving straight into the events and the information you want to include in your event. So that's what we're trying to do with the org level ones. And we support all the existing events that you would be able to subscribe to at the account level, all the envelope, template, click, Maestro. Here's the new extension apps. When new events are built, they're automatically included in account level and the org level. So be able to have access to those the moment those are rolled out in both configurations. We have our associated users functionality. We have the users and groups. These are users and groups from within the accounts, not any of the users at the org level. Because remember, an org level config is getting information from the account. That's where the envelopes go out of. That's where their users are acting. All the org level config is doing is sending all the events from all the accounts to one configuration. But no information is actually going out of the org to the org level config. Everything's still coming from those accounts linked to it. So we have users and groups. We'll carry those up from the account level here. We're also introducing a new accounts filter. So you'll be able to include or exclude certain accounts out of the configuration that may be linked to your org. We think this will be very valuable when you're setting up different configurations and launching new use cases up here. Moving down to the security settings, we include HMAC, OAuth. We also will support mutual TLS, the X509. Those are the three main optional security options that we'll offer for the org level configs. Basic auth will not be supported up here. We want customers to leverage our new OAuth solution. So that's the only one that will not be supported here. And if you're using the X509, there isn't like an X509 org level certificate. It will still leverage the certificates from the accounts. So that'd be one difference. But the HMAC and OAuth settings will be set up and they will be triggered at the org level for those. So this is what the org level config will look like. You'll have a type identifier. We've already got some created here. We have the config ID, and it looks very similar. You'll have statuses, failures, just like at the account level. So I want to walk you through a demo, actually triggering an event from an account to an org level config. I want to show you the payload. There are some differences within it that I want to walk you through. So I've already set up a configuration. I'm going to send an envelope from one of the accounts linked to the org. Let me just get set up real quick. And we'll get going. So I've already set up my org level config. It's already active. I've also went to webhook site. This is a dummy listener that I have. I'm going to send an event, an envelope out of an account, which is going to trigger an event to my org level config and then pass the payload to my external listener here. So I'm in my DocuSign account. I'm not at the org level. My users are sending envelopes out as they normally would. And I'm just going to send now Just want to get the agreement out. Sometimes there can be a little delay here with this environment that we're in. Okay, so that envelope was sent out, and what will happen is it will send an event to the org level configuration that I set up that's linked, that the account is linked to. So I sent one from that account, do a refresh of my listener. And then you'll see here, we have a new event that was sent. And you'll see the payload looks pretty similar to the account level. You'll have the same configuration IDs, generated time. One difference is there'll be a new organization ID that is populated in here. That'd be one identifier that this is an org level configuration, that an event was sent to an org level config. But you'll still have the account ID. All the same payload information you get at the account level will populate to an org level config. There are no differences. Tabs, recipients, folders, documents, the new template information we're adding, all of that will be sent to an org level configuration. One great way to identify between them, obviously you have your configuration ID, but now we're also adding that organization ID. If you need different identifiers, if you're setting up use cases at the account level, and soon the organization level. So I just wanted to walk you through what that demo would look like. And then it would populate the logs in the dashboard, after a minute or so. So it'll feed, if I'm sending events or envelopes from all of these accounts, all those events will send to that one org level config listener. So one thing you have to be cognizant of is, can your listener support, that type of volume? So I definitely go through a rigorous test once we get this out in demo, just to ensure your listener's not getting overloaded if you're trying to consolidate down. So those are the things that you'll just need to be cognizant of as you're testing through this. It'll just fire all the events for all the accounts, to one configuration now. So those are just the things you should be ready for. But that's the full demo I wanted to walk you through. We're really excited to get this out. We've been building this for quite a while. This is the future of our webhook system. One thing that I forgot to call out is at the org level, you'll have enhanced logging. So right now at the account level, if you try to download logs, you only get about 500. We're working to increase that at the account level. But at the org level right now, you'll have access to 50,000 logs that you'll be able to download. And that's the information that comes from this table here. When you download that, that's what will populate into a CSV file. If you want to do your own reporting, or if you want to send the errors to your developer, IT admin, whoever that may be, we just want to give you as much information as possible. So really excited about that. What you don't see here is that republish tool. We're still working on that. We're hoping to get that up by the end of February, but that may trickle into March. You would see a publish box here like you do at the account level. So I'm not able to show you that today, but that's that republish functionality that you'll be able to leverage by the end of Q1 here. So that's what I wanted to show you. Pretty much just want to head into questions here and just talk through anything that you guys may need covered.
Sure. Alan, a question came in from Carnegie, and the question is the org to account relationship one to many, or may we link an account to multiple organizations?
Great question. So I believe it's one to one. I think you can only link one account to one org, but we can get back to you an answer with that. I'm not too familiar with the linking side, more just the Connect webhook piece. But from what I've seen, it's one to one account to one org. But let's confirm that, Julia, after the fact here.
Okay, and we'll follow up with that after the webinar via our developer inbox. So watch for an answer in developers@docusign.com. We have another question for you, Alan. So if you set up the URL and other settings in org level config, it will apply to all accounts, correct?
Yes. So the moment you set up that org level configuration, This is where you'll specify the users or groups or accounts. We default to all. So any account linked to the org, let's say, 500 users are sending 500 envelopes out across your 100 accounts, all 100 of those accounts will send an event to this listener. So that's why we give you those include or exclude options in case you want to remove or, customize this to however you wish. And that's what you'll need to leverage.
Great, thank you. We have one more. In general, it seems like there's a redundancy between envelope events and recipient events. What is the difference? Does envelope sent mean something different from recipient sent, etc.?
Yeah, so the envelope events, these more just trigger one time. It's a one-time thing when the envelope initially goes out, or when the first recipient opens it, or when all the recipients have signed. It's kind of that more end state. A recipient is more, granular. If you have 100 recipients, you'll get, 100 events as they go through these, if they trigger these. So that's kind of the redundancy. You're able to track where your recipients are at. Oh, why isn't my envelope completed? Oh, only two of the signers have signed. That's the best way to be able to monitor that. If you're doing it off the envelope events, you're not going to get, an envelope delivered for each recipient, but you would for the recipient delivered. So that's the best way I can describe those. It's more of a end state aggregated send, and this one's more granular. You're getting it more frequently as the envelope progresses.
Awesome, thank you. And Tiago, was there anything that you wanted to add to that?
Yeah, I believe Alan already detailed pretty much. But yeah, so basically, if you need to receive more granular data on your site, the recipient events will be like the way to go. As you can, you can track their actions throughout the signing ceremony. And the envelope events will be more like the global events regarding that envelope. So when it's completed, if it was voided, and etc. Yeah.
Hey, thank you. One more question. Actually, let me see here. Will this impact any account level Connect configurations?
Oh, great question. So, will there will not be like a deprecation or migration process or any impact. Your account level configurations information will stay status quo. The org level functionality is essentially an extension on top of it. It's just an addition to what you could leverage. It's all opt-in. Nothing's going to change on your current integration. And we don't foresee us ever pushing customers off account level to org level for the same fact that I said earlier, where customers want to keep documents separate or access separate. That will always exist at DocuSign. We just want to provide new functionality and think of, new consolidation paths, new use cases that customers could leverage at the org level. So it's just an extension.
Gotcha, thank you. A couple more here. Is there delegated admin functionality at the org level?
Oh yeah. So at the org level, these are the account admins, but when you're looking at the org admins within here, we have a new delegated Connect admin. It's the similar delegated function at the account level. We had to build our own here at the org level, so we already have this launched. It's out at phase 1 as well. So if you want to bring, your developer up or IT admin up, you can give them a smaller scope of access just to connect. But that will give them that opportunity to come up to the org level if you prefer that. So that's available now in phase 1. You should have access to it.
And Alan, a follow-up question on that. You can go back to that demo screen. For that Connect administrator profile, is that something where you'd expect an existing administrator to fulfill that role, or you were talking about bringing a developer up to admin level?
So at the account level, the reason it was built in the first place is like a whole business admin or like, a super admin. There's usually a few of those at the firm that manages the DocuSign account. You know, they're not always the developer or the IT admin or whoever needs to look into those logs. So that's why they have the delegated functionality to give that person just connect access. So they're not having user edit level access or other you know, products that they shouldn't have access to. That's the idea behind it. But that will allow the, you know, super admin. I can now bring my IT admin, you know, up to the org level. I gave him delegated admin functionality at the account level. Great. I can do the same at the org level now, and we can both configure this and implement it together.
And
Hopefully
another
that.
question, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead,
No, I'm just saying,
Sasha.
hope that answered.
Yeah, great. Another question, you know, like, so we've now got, you know, setting aside the recipient connect, there's 3 levels of connect now. There's org level connect, there's a account level connect, and then there's envelope level connect. And so when a customer is sitting back and thinking about, you know, I want to create a new connect configuration, like, can you walk us through like how you'd advise them to make that decision about which type of configuration to build?
Yeah, the best way I look at it is, you know, what are the use cases you want to implement? That's where I would start. You know, let's say I just want to like archive all the documents in my account to a repository. You know, the configuration you're going to make is our most common one, you know, our sender webhook, and you're just going to have all users filtered into it. Because I just want to collect all the events, extract the documents, put in my repository. Where it gets a bit more granular is, you know, if you have a lot of your users being sent envelopes, if they're only receiving them, obviously you'd want to look into our recipient connect one. If you're doing additional filtering, like let's say you have an embedded signing use case and you want to create another configuration separate from the one that's archiving the documents because you don't want those flows to get, you know, jumbled up or intersected or overloaded. We see a lot of customers create 2 different listeners for documents and in person. You may want to leverage our envelope level. So events only fire for those embedded signing events within your app. So you wouldn't be getting connect events for the whole account. You would just be getting it when they trigger a signing flow just within your application. So it just depends on the use case you have. But that's how I kind of look at it. And then for the org level, it's really more for the enterprises. You know, if you have those hundreds of accounts, those thousands of configurations, and you have, you know, a large volume of data going through our systems, this product will probably serve you better than the account level with all the functionality and visibility it offers you.
Okay.
I wanted to mention one thing, if I can. On the DocuSign Developer Center, we actually have a webhook sample app, and I just dropped the link into the chat. This sample app is written in Ruby using our Ruby SDK, and it lets you go through a live demo of a couple of scenarios, one of which lets you monitor envelope status, and another one which allows you to automate a workflow based on an elastic signing agreement. So you can actually run live demos of these scenarios. There's explanations of the behind the scenes, and also you can access the GitHub source code, and you know, you can clone the repo and try it out yourself. So little PSA for our webhook sample app.
Awesome. Thank you, Julie. If you could drop that to everyone in the chat, I think it might have only gone to the
Oh,
hosts.
sorry.
No worries. We do have one more question here. What are the configuration limits?
Oh, great call. So at the account level, we have a limit of about 20 active configurations. The org level will mimic that in its own separate limit. You can only have 20 active organization level configurations. That doesn't read off the account level at all. It's its own separate limit. I could have 20 at the account level. I could have 20 at the org level for 40 total, but it'll mimic what we have at the account level.
Great, thank you. And then one more ask. Someone mentioned the coding screen. If you go could go back to the demo where the coding screen was.
This one?
No, the actual demo with the code. When you were going through the demo itself.
Oh,
That
this one?
one, yeah.
Yeah.
Could you
Okay.
enlarge that a little bit? It was difficult for folks to see.
Uh,
Is there a way to do
Oh.
that? Maybe, there you go, yeah.
yeah, this is the payload event that we send. This is the connect 2.0 with the event. Here's that organization ID. This is how I knew it was a org level config. We just added that in case customers need it. And then I included data, so it brought an envelope summary in. And this is where it would attach the documents or recipients and tabs that you may subscribe to.
Okay. Great, thank you for doing that.
Yep.
We have another question that came in, team. Julie, do you want to share that one?
Sure. So the question is from Sarah. How can you suppress the automatic resending of Connect messages that have failed? You mentioned a default to auto resend, but how can that be changed or adjusted?
Yeah, so we want auto retries to be enabled by default. We find when customers don't have that enabled, it's very painful to get yourself out of that situation as you have to manually republish everything. So the best way, what I tell customers is to set up a queue, their queuing system. You can accept our message, and then you can just drop it out of your system, even if you're not going to do processing off of it. As long as you send us a 200 status back, whether you've pushed that message forward or you just let it go, ignored it, that will stop the auto retry on our end. Now, that said, we are looking in ways to include like a pause setting. That's something that we want to bring out later this year. But as of right now, we do not have that. So I would recommend accepting all the messages from us. That'll stop any retries, and then handling the processing within your system.
Okay. Any other questions? Going once.
Like
Oh,
we have one
yep.
that just came in.
Awesome. Go for it, Sasha.
Yeah, can we get the final signed envelope document in the envelope signed completed event?
Yeah, we offer all documents within that envelope. It's just an include data parameter when you create the configuration within the envelope recipient events. When you do include it, it's just documents, and we'll include all the documents and the COC within that signed agreement. And when you get the payload, it'll come in the PDF bytes. So this is the actual document that was sent to the recipient. And if you get the envelope completed event, it'll show all the signatures and the last state that the envelope was in.
All right. Let's go ahead. I think that's all for Q&A then. Thank you everybody for that. And let's go ahead and go to the resources. All right. So you will receive the resources along with the recording of the webinar about a week from today. You can find our resources on our new developer community, including the sample apps that Julie referenced, as well as DocuSign University. We have a number of different courses available there. We also have links to our social channels, including YouTube, where we have previous recordings of Connect webhooks and Connect 2.0 webinars that are also helpful. They're all linked here on the developer community, and I'll share that link with you in the chat. You should see that now. So if there's something that you think of after the webinar you didn't quite get to ask, go ahead and feel free to reach out to us at developers@docusign.com. And this team from today's webinar will follow up with you afterwards. We'll also get back to that first question too. We still have that earmarked for that. You can also go to Stack Overflow for help and tag them with DocuSign API for a community response. Or you can join us for one of our upcoming webinars. Our next API office hours is February 25th. And then in March, we have a slew of other webinars that are available on our developer community calendar. Let's see here. We also would appreciate if you would take the post survey, tell us how we did, what you thought of the content, what you'd like to see in the future. That will help us shape what we do for our future webinars and topics. So that'll pop up in your browser as you exit today. And I'm going to go ahead and drop a number of other just common resources that I covered here. Sasha, I think you wanted to do a little plug for DocuSign University as well.
Yeah, just wanted to mention DocuSign University has, like Melissa said, a number of courses for developers. And in particular, we have one on Custom Connect. So it kind of walks through the different configurations and how to create them. And there's actually hands-on activity at the end that walks you through building a configuration and then testing it. So if you want that sort of methodical approach to learning this and then trying it out, I'll put that link in the chat as well. And you can log into DSU using different logins, but in particular, you can use your developer account as a login for the link that I'm sharing.
Beautiful, thank you. All right, and then next slide, Alan. Okay, so that's it for today. I'd like to thank Alan for the great presentation and demo, Julie, Tiago, and Sasha for all the great questions and addressing those that came in today. And thank you to all of you, our attendees, for joining us. We hope you have a great remainder of the rest of the day. Thank you, everybody.